Seniors, this turmeric recipe relieved my joint pain in just 4 days. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? But if you've been living with aching knees, stiff fingers, or that deep, dragging back pain that never quite leaves, I invite you to listen closely. Because what I'm about to share isn't based on hype. It's a real story from a real woman who thought her pain was permanent, until one small change in her evening routine gave her body back. In just a few nights, her joints began to move easier, her steps became steadier, and for the first time in years, she said, "I feel like myself again." Now, I'm not here to sell you a miracle cure. I'm here to share something gentle, natural, and scientifically supported. Something you can make in your own kitchen tonight. So if you're tired of the pills, the side effects, the waiting for relief that never comes, stay with me. You might just discover what her golden cup of turmeric did, and what it could do for you. And if this resonates with you, feel free to subscribe. Not because you have to, but because your health deserves a place that puts you first. Part 1. The turning point. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat on the edge of your bed in the early morning, rubbing your knees, hoping today might hurt just a little less than yesterday? That quiet moment, when the world is still and the ache is loud, is something most people never understand unless they've lived it. But if you're over 60 and walking has become slower, stiffer, or even painful, I know you do. Linda Porter, 82 years old, used to have that same morning, every single day. A soft-spoken woman from Missouri with a gentle laugh and a green thumb, she spent decades tending her garden, baking pies, and walking to her neighbor's mailbox just for the joy of it. But over time, pain crept in. First, it was her knees, then her hips, then her fingers. She told me, "Dr. Hayes, it didn't happen all at once. It was slow, like I was losing little pieces of my freedom, day by day." Now I want to pause here, because maybe you're feeling the same. Maybe you've accepted that stiffness and pain are just part of getting older. But what if they're not? You see, Linda had tried everything. Over-the-counter painkillers, prescription anti-inflammatories, creams that burned, creams that cooled, gentle stretches, even acupuncture. "Some days I thought something was working," she said. "But it always came back. It always found me again." She wasn't looking for miracles. She wasn't chasing fads. She just wanted to walk across her kitchen floor without holding onto the chair for balance, to turn a doorknob without wincing, to sleep through the night without waking up 3 times from the throbbing in her joints. And that's when something small changed everything. One Saturday afternoon, her niece Helen called to check in. They usually talked about birds or books or the weather. But this time, Helen asked her a question. "Aunt Linda, have you ever tried turmeric?" Linda chuckled. "You mean that yellow stuff from Indian food? I've had a jar in the cabinet for 10 years. Used it once, stained my wooden spoon, never touched it again." But Helen wasn't joking. "No, really," she said. "Turmeric has something called curcumin. It's natural. It's anti-inflammatory. I've been reading about it, and people our age are using it to manage joint pain. You should look into it." Now, here's where the story gets real. Linda could have ignored it. She could have smiled, hung up the phone, and gone back to her pain. But instead, she did something many people stop doing after a certain age. She got curious. And curiosity, my friends, is one of the most powerful tools we still have. That night, Linda sat at her kitchen table with her reading glasses on, a hot cup of tea in hand, and typed "turmeric for joint pain" into her computer. What she found surprised her. Not blog posts or paid ads, but research. Real studies, real doctors talking about turmeric's ability to reduce chronic inflammation. She read about curcumin, how it helps block certain molecules in the body that trigger inflammation. She learned that when paired with black pepper, its absorption increases dramatically. She even found statements from rheumatologists and pain specialists confirming what many in natural medicine have known for centuries. "Dr. Hayes," she told me later, "it wasn't just the science, it was the way they talked about it, like something gentle but strong, something my body could trust." And that was the moment, the turning point. Not when she drank the turmeric for the first time, but when she believed that there was still something out there worth trying. Something simple. Something natural. Something that didn't come with a long list of side effects. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you tried something new for your body? not because you were desperate, but because you were hopeful. That shift in mindset, that moment of curiosity, it's more powerful than any pill. And here's why I believe Linda's story matters. Because too often, we see aging as a downhill slide. We assume less mobility, less energy, and more pain are just part of the package. But they're not always. There are ways, gentle ways, to support your body, reduce inflammation, and regain quality of life. Not overnight, not dramatically, but gradually. Like the way the seasons change, or the way the morning light slowly fills the room. Linda didn't expect a miracle. She just wanted to feel a little better. And that small intention, it led to a recipe that gave her real relief. Coming up next, I'll walk you through exactly what she prepared, how she made it, and the key ingredients that made all the difference. But for now, I want to leave you with this. What if the solution isn't far away? What if it's already sitting in your kitchen? Waiting. Quietly, just like you've been waiting for a sign that your body still wants to heal. Do you believe it's possible? If you do, or even if you're unsure, I invite you to stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, you may discover the most valuable habit your evening routine has ever known. Part 2. The recipe she used now. If you've made it this far, I know you're probably asking, all right, Dr. Hayes, what exactly did Linda do? What was in that little golden drink that helped ease her pain and gave her the energy to move more freely again? Let me walk you through it, not just the ingredients, but the why behind each one. Because when you understand how these simple elements work together, you'll start to see this isn't some trendy internet recipe. It's a thoughtful, natural blend designed to support your aging joints, reduce inflammation, and bring calm back to your body. Linda didn't overcomplicate it. She wasn't trying to follow some exotic, hard-to-find formula. She just wanted something safe, easy, and soothing. And that's exactly what she created. Here's what she used. 1 level teaspoon of turmeric powder, a pinch of ground black pepper, 1 cup of unsweetened oat milk. You can also use almond milk, rice milk, or even cow's milk if that's what you have. 1/2 teaspoon of coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil works too. A small piece of fresh grated ginger, optional, but adds a nice warming touch. Now let me explain why these ingredients matter. Turmeric is of course the star. It contains curcumin, the compound responsible for its powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Think of curcumin as the quiet helper your body has been waiting for. It doesn't work by masking pain. It goes deeper, helping reduce the cause of the inflammation in your joints, muscles, and even your digestive system. But here's the trick, and it's important. Curcumin isn't easily absorbed on its own. That's where black pepper comes in. Just a pinch of it contains a compound called piperine. Piperine enhances curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Yes, 2,000%. Without it, most of the benefits pass right through your system. With it, your body actually puts that golden powder to work. The milk, whether plant-based or dairy, acts as a gentle base. It helps soothe the stomach and blend the spices evenly. Linda used oat milk because it was what she had in the fridge, and she found it comforting. But use whatever works for you. The oil is another key. Curcumin is fat-soluble, which means it absorbs best when combined with a healthy fat. That's why a bit of coconut oil or olive oil is essential, not just for flavor, but for function. And then there's the ginger. It's optional, but I'll be honest, I love it. Ginger brings its own anti-inflammatory benefits, and it adds a cozy warmth to the drink that makes it feel like a true act of care, like something your grandmother might have made for you. Now let's talk about how Linda prepared it. And I'd love to know, do you already make warm drinks before bed? Is tea part of your evening routine? Because this fits in beautifully. She started by pouring 1 cup of oat milk into a small saucepan. She added the turmeric, black pepper, ginger, and oil, and stirred gently with a wooden spoon. Here's the important part. She didn't let it boil. Boiling can break down some of the beneficial compounds. Instead, she warmed it over low heat just until it started to steam. Then she stirred it gently for about 5 minutes. When it was ready, she strained it through a fine mesh sieve to catch any undissolved spice or ginger. She poured it into her favorite mug, sat down in her quiet kitchen, and sipped slowly. She told me later, "It wasn't just the taste, Dr. Hayes. It was the feeling. The act of preparing something good for myself. It brought peace." The flavor? Earthy. mildly spicy, a little unusual at first, but surprisingly comforting. If you prefer a bit of sweetness, you can add a teaspoon of natural honey. But Linda drank hers plain. She said it felt more pure that way. One night, I asked her, "Why do you think this worked for you when nothing else did?" She said, "Because it wasn't about chasing results. It was about slowing down, listening to my body, doing something simple every night with care." And she's right, that's the part we often miss. Consistency is what brings results, not intensity, not megadoses, just one small habit repeated with intention. So I ask you now, could you make a little space in your evening for this? Not as a task, not as another thing to manage, but as a gift to yourself. A small ritual that says, I still matter. I still deserve care. You see, it's not just about the turmeric. It's about what it represents. The choice to support your body in a way that's natural, gentle, respectful, something your body will understand and appreciate. And before you worry, no, it won't clash with your medications. Turmeric is considered safe for most people, especially in culinary amounts. But of course, if you're on blood thinners or have specific medical conditions, it's always wise to check in with your doctor. Linda added this to her routine every night before bed. Within days, she began to notice changes, not a miracle, but movement, a little less stiffness, a little more strength, and the best part, a sense of hope returning to her evening hours. I always say, healing doesn't always start in a hospital. Sometimes it starts in your kitchen. And this recipe is proof. So now I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever tried turmeric like this before? Do you already have a golden cup routine of your own? Or is this your first time hearing about it? Drop a comment below and share your experience. You never know. Your story might inspire someone else to begin theirs. Part 3. What happened after 4 days? Now this is the part of Linda's story that moved me the most. Because healing, when it happens gently, often catches us by surprise. It doesn't knock on your door and say, "Here I am." It whispers, it nudges, it shows up quietly, in the small ways we least expect. On the first night, Linda made her turmeric drink like I showed you earlier. She stood in her kitchen, lights dimmed, house quiet, and stirred the golden mixture slowly. She told me later, it felt almost sacred, like I was doing something kind for myself, not just taking another pill. She wasn't expecting anything. She drank it simply, with no pressure. And that's an important lesson for all of us. Sometimes the best things happen when we're not chasing results, but simply offering care. That night, she slept okay. Not great, but for once, she didn't wake up with the same heavy ache in her hips. She noticed that small shift and didn't dismiss it. On the second day, she got out of bed and stood for a moment. Usually, she'd reach for the wall or the dresser to steady herself. This time, her knees felt a bit less locked. Not painless, but looser. She made her way to the kitchen and realized she hadn't shuffled. She'd stepped. "I thought maybe it was just a good day," she said. But I was watching closely, and I noticed, when I reached up to grab the coffee filter, I didn't wince like I usually do. Now, let me ask you, have you ever had one of those moments? When you realize without even thinking you just did something that used to hurt? It's subtle, but it's powerful, because the body remembers. And when it starts letting go of pain, it also starts letting go of fear. That evening, Linda made her turmeric cup again, this time with a little more belief. And belief is an ingredient you won't find in any grocery store, but it may be the most important one of all. On the third day, things became more obvious. She told me, "Dr. Hayes, I woke up and opened my bedroom window without rubbing my fingers first. That hasn't happened in years." She walked to the mailbox, slower than she used to, but steadier than she had in months. Her joints still felt old, because, let's be honest, they are, but they didn't feel angry anymore. They weren't fighting her every move. She felt calmer, less tight, less anxious about the next painful twist or turn. And this is something we rarely talk about, how pain doesn't just affect your body. It creeps into your emotions, it shapes your decisions, it shrinks your world. So when the pain eases, even slightly, your spirit starts to stretch again. Linda noticed that too. She said, "I cleaned off a shelf that had been collecting dust. I bent down to pick up a box and realized, halfway through, I hadn't hesitated. That's when I knew something was shifting." By the fourth day, she didn't just feel better physically. She felt something deeper. Confidence. Control. A sense that her body was still listening. Still trying. Still healing. She called her niece, the same one who suggested turmeric in the first place. Helen, she said. I'm not saying I'm cured, but I'm moving. I'm sleeping. I'm smiling. I feel like me again. And that, my friends, is the heart of this story. Not that turmeric is a miracle, but that when you give your body something gentle, something natural, and something consistent, it responds. We often think healing comes from hospitals or specialists, but sometimes healing begins in the quietest of places. A mug of golden milk, a moment of stillness, a soft commitment to try again. Now, I'm sure many of you are wondering, will this work for me? And that's a fair question. Everyone's body is different, but let me ask you this instead. Is there any harm in giving your body one small daily act of kindness? Even if the change is subtle, wouldn't it be worth it? Because for Linda, it wasn't just about feeling less pain. It was about feeling more alive, more present, more capable. She told me, I stopped expecting to wake up pain-free. That wasn't the goal. The goal was waking up and knowing I could take care of myself again. And isn't that what we all want? A sense of control, of dignity, of peace in our own bodies. Turmeric didn't fix everything, but it started something, a process. A signal to her joints, to her nervous system, to her spirit. That said, you're not done yet. There's still more life to live. So I want to turn it back to you. Have you noticed small signs like this in your own journey? A morning that felt lighter? A task that used to hurt but didn't today? Drop a comment and tell me. I'd love to hear what your body is whispering back to you. And if you're just starting this journey, remember, you don't need giant leaps, just a few steady steps. A golden cup. And a little curiosity. In the next part of this video, I'll share what you should keep in mind if you want to try this yourself. Because it's not just about what you take, it's about how you take it, when you take it, and the mindset you bring to the process. Stay with me, because we're just getting to the best part. And there you have it. A simple turmeric recipe that helped one woman reconnect with her body, her energy, and her sense of hope, all in just a few days. As a doctor who's worked with older adults for over 30 years, I've seen how small, consistent habits like this can create meaningful change. Turmeric won't replace your prescriptions, but it may reduce the daily burden your joints carry. It may help you move with more comfort, rest with more ease, and live with more peace. If you found this video helpful, I encourage you to explore the links in the description. You'll find more practical remedies, senior-safe exercises, and natural wellness tips designed just for you. Each video is crafted to give you control back, one step, one breath, one golden sip at a time. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Would you like me to go deeper into joint health, sleep tips, or natural pain relief? What topic matters most to you right now? Leave a comment below, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. You're not alone on this journey. Let's walk it together. With wisdom, intention, and a little healing in every cup.